What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. CFC Deep here with yet another video. We have an excellent one for you today. We are going to recap Chelsea's victory 5-0 against Barrow in the middle of the week and look ahead to a huge match against Brighton on Saturday at the Bridge. Let's get into it, but first I want to talk about our sponsor. As always, Simon Phillips Talks Chelsea, an amazing platform, has a little bit of content for every single Chelsea fan. Videos, podcasts, written, everything that a Chelsea fan could want in whatever medium they want is all in one site. So go ahead to the link in the description below and subscribe to that today. Excellent content. Go ahead, get into it now. But let's do a little bit of a recap into the Barrow match. Chelsea, seemingly massive favorites in the match, took care of business. 5-0. It was a early match. It was determined early. Christopher Nkunku has just been sensational, guys. And now we're going to start and talk about some broader questions of how do you fit him in this lineup? Because, Maresca after the match had said, we could play all these guys, but who would defend? Me and you, speaking to the journalists at the time. And I think that's the problem that we're seeing. And it's not like you can drop Nicholas Jackson right now. You're obviously not going to drop Cole Palmer. Could you potentially find a way to maybe get Nkunku in on one of the wings? It's a possibility, but I don't think Maresca is in any position or wants to move on from what he has kind of seen as his Premier League starting 11. That includes Jadon Sancho, that includes Pedro Neto, Madueke, Cole Palmer, Jackson, Neto sometimes, but Madueke for right now is that right winger. So there will be opportunity. There will be time to chop and change as you get later into competitions when maybe the Premier League game doesn't matter as much as a cup competition. But as of right now, that's how it is. But it's very, very difficult to keep Christopher Nkunku out of the squad because if he's scoring at this rate, it's something that needs to happen. So the move goes to Nicholas Jackson. You had 2 goals the last match. Let's see what you can do in a huge match against Brighton. Now, of course, Christopher Nkunku can come off the bench and be a very impactful sub. We saw it against Bournemouth. We've seen it in other matches. But I think at a certain point, he's going to want to start those Premier League matches. He doesn't want to be viewed as a cup striker. I heard some rhetoric this week talking about, he should be fine with his minutes as it is. But, that's in a Carabao Cup. That's in the Conference League. He's a big player. He's our most clinical finisher, in my opinion. So to keep him out of the Premier League 11 is going to be difficult. But as of right now, Jackson's doing well enough where you're like, okay, you can kind of stay in that position as long as you keep scoring. And the hold-up has been sensational. The passing has been good for Jackson. So to me, it's not necessarily why is Christopher Nkunku not starting because, there's nobody else better than him. I think Jackson right now is in a great run of form. He has comfortability with the team out there. So I think it's going to be kind of a wait and see in terms of Christopher Nkunku. Also, João Felix looked fantastic against Barrow. He is not going to be a guy that's going to be necessarily, breaking into that 11, so to speak, to start. But you can see a role for him in the Premier League in matches if some things happen, right? Extremely talented. You look at bringing off the bench a João Felix, a Pedro Neto, a Christopher Nkunku, Mudryk. There's a lot of guys out there that can really alter how Chelsea play. If they're okay with those roles, fine. As long as they're winning, I feel like it's going to be fine. But if they don't win, we're going to see some changes. And Felix has done a fantastic job. A great assist to Nkunku for the first one. A free kick that he can't claim as his goal, but he shot it, went in, so I will claim it as a João Felix stan. But that's another guy that could be in the lineup. Now, when we talk about a cup game against a League 2 side, there's only so much that you could take into it, right? You're just talking such a huge chasm of talent, right? But Chelsea have struggled with this matchup. It's been a few years since we've had some of these early matchups and we've really just taken care of business. Now, I know last year we had a very easy run to the Carabao Cup final where we beat some sides, but it was never extremely, extremely easy. It always felt difficult. I think of that Wimbledon match last year where it went to penalties and we were fortunate to get through. But now I start to look at this team and I think that they're seasoned enough to not take any game lightly and know they have to bring their A game. The B team, B team, even though it's an amazing squad, has so many players that they're going to go out there and they're going to perform. I mean, it's not like 2 years ago, and you start to talk about the squad depth and how many players we have. This is why when you're playing 70 games a season, you need almost 2 teams. And if Maresca is able to keep these guys happy and the performances just keep going, I'm very, very excited about what could happen this season. I think there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of, growth that yet needs to happen, and consistency most importantly. But overall, I'm not too worried about the talent level, because I think at every position we have somebody that is just sensational. So moving on, we have a huge match against Brighton. This is a team that, has created sort of a little rivalry against us, just because we've been buying all their players. But it's a very good team, very well coached. They have some very interesting players, interesting attacking talent, pretty good in the midfield and whatnot. So I think Chelsea will look at this game as a very important one. I think it's going to be really important to dominate the midfield in this match. I think Moises Caicedo needs to continue his excellent run of form and really try and focus on dominating in the middle, because, there's a lot of times where Chelsea may get caught up, and he's just done a fantastic job of sort of filling in those voids wherever he needs to clean it up, and it's been really good. And offensively, it's been good. I look for Enzo Fernandez to have a big game as well. Really want to see him utilize his passing range, get some guys involved, sort of be another catalyst in the midfield. But for me, it's also about the defenders. It'll be interesting to see what Maresca decides to go with, whether it's going to be Tosin and Colwell, Fofana and Colwell. Is Fofana playing right back? It seems like Malo Gusto is healthy, played the first 45 minutes, so maybe that was just getting his stamina up to get ready for the Brighton match. But I'm interested to see how that back pairing works, because I think when you look at Fofana as a whole, he's been very sharp, but there has been some moments where you're like, yeah, you're a guy that hasn't played football in about 2.5 years. So you can't have that in those moments, right? And that's a problem to me. But I think Chelsea have all the makings of making this game very competitive. I don't think that it's going to be a blowout one side or the other. I could see a 2-1, 1-1, either way, So it's very important, though, to note that this game just means a lot. It justifies what we've seen against West Ham and against Barrow, right, and against Bournemouth. It keeps the good vibes going. So very, very critical one this weekend. We will be covering it for you right here as always. And then go ahead, find that link in the description. Cy Phillips Talks Chelsea. They have an amazing amount of content surrounding the match coming up and what's going to happen post-match. So as always, thank you. Like, subscribe, comment. All that stuff means the absolute world to me. Thank you to everybody that got me to over 500 subscribers. Super excited about that. And we got a big one. So let's go do it. Thank you.